All right, here we go. All right, so we're looking at 3D solids. And there's some things you need to know about, like how to name them. They've got the names on them, but that might be something you would have to tell also on a, like you're talking about the SATs changing. These kind of things again could be on your SATs. When you have 3D solids, you have something called the base, and you have something called your sides.
That was a calculator.
You know what the base is because there's either one or two of them. And the sides, there's going to be at least three of them, and they're going to look the same, even though, sometimes they may be different sizes. So we'll look at that. I'll get some 3D examples out here in a minute. So first of all, let's look at that number one. It's called the triangular prism. This is the one they try to trick you on all the time, and they put it right at the beginning. They're trying to, actually, I guess they're not trying to trick you because they actually told you what the name of it was. The first word, when they name something, the first word is referring to the base, and the second word in the name refers to the sides. When you name the sides, you have two things that can happen. You can either have triangles, and if your sides are triangles, then it becomes a pyramid. Do you see the word pyramid in this title, triangular prism? No, it's not there. So that's telling you something about this figure. Look at this figure. You might think that the sides are triangles, but they're not. The sides are actually rectangles, and I'll pull one out as an example here in a minute. If your sides are triangles, you call it a pyramid. If your sides are rectangles, you call it a prism. This is a triangular prism. So the bases are the triangles on this. Let me see if I can't shade them in a little bit. So this triangle and this triangle are actually your bases. The thing about a triangular prism is the way that we use it. Usually we use things like that for ramps. It's sitting on a side, basically, because what do you see if I outline this right here? We're looking at it as an angle, but that's actually a rectangle. So that's why it's called a prism. Its sides are rectangles. So let's draw the net of one. If I unfolded it, let's see if we can't figure this out. If I draw the two triangular bases, these actually, we can use something other than red. Let's say that we have three rectangles for the sides, because this one in our figure has more rectangular sides, not square sides like the one I'm holding. And then it looks like, doesn't it look like that maybe something like this would be, we have right angles, don't we? If I put that together, that would give us the figure that we have on number one. Okay, so there's other things to talk about with this. If you look at the figure, I'm going to draw it again. They have it on the paper. Notice if you want to draw it, you can draw a triangle and then a little smaller triangle. And then if you just connect the vertices, I'm going to connect that back one with the dots because we wouldn't actually see that edge. That's a dotted edge. It might look like that. I could draw those lines in solid if I wanted to. It's not like I couldn't. But the problem is I think that makes it harder to figure out. Sometimes when you know that you can't see through the figure to see that side, but you want to draw it in, a lot of times you draw it dotted. Now, they ask us for different things. The number of vertices. What's a vertex? I have no idea.
Is that your ringtone?
Okay. What are the vertices on a figure? Y'all know?
4.
4.
What's a vertex? 6.
A vertex is where it's like points on the thing, like where the sides meet. That would be a vertex there. That would be a vertex. That would be a vertex. You can actually draw them in. I'm going to draw them in with green on the figure. There's where the sides come together. It's going to make a corner, basically.
6.
Yep, 6. You can count them. So the green, I drew the vertices in green. So there are these points or these corners here. So think of them as the corners. Okay. Now they ask us for the number of faces. Faces are basically, I could actually unfold this and count them easier. It's like how many side surfaces, I guess you would say. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you want to count the faces, would be the number of bases plus the number of sides. So how many are in this figure? 5. I'm using this as an example of this, even though we know that really ours is a little bit longer this way on our paper. Okay, so now let's see. The next thing they want is the number of edges. The edges are like, let me draw on this figure, and then I'll draw on they're like, that's an edge, that's an edge, that's an edge, that's an edge. If you were to draw the figure, the number of lines it would take you to draw the figure is the number of edges. So we can draw around it. Let me show you how you can count them. If you've already got it drawn, you can either draw it or you can count it by outlining it. So I'm going to outline to figure out how many line segments I have, and that's the edges. So if you look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then that back one makes 8, 9. This one has 9 edges. Everybody understand that? Okay. So I like to do the dots for the vertices. The faces, you're just counting the actual, I'm using sides loosely here, but the actual number of sides in the whole figure, the bases and the sides. Edges, you can outline or draw it to count it. They ask us also, what's the number of bases? So what did we say we had here? Wasn't it 2 triangles? That's why we called it a triangular prism. And the name of the base is triangle or triangular. I'll put the triangular part there. Now, lateral faces is another way of saying just the sides without the bases. So the number of lateral faces. How many sides do you have if you take the bases out? 3, right? And we have 3 sides. And the name of the lateral faces, in this case, we're going to say rectangular. So that's why we called it a triangular. The name of the sides are rectangles, but that leads us to call it a prism. So that's why we called this one a triangular prism to think about. So my drawing is bad. We can use it just for... Okay, so how many vertices do we have here? Let's count them and let's write it in green. Okay, so that's going to be green. Let's count them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? If you put the dots on them. Then they ask us for the number of faces. Well, there's 2 bases and there's 4 sides, so wouldn't that be 6 faces altogether? Remember, that's everything total.
We're doing number 2.
I'm doing number 3. See, it's up there, 3. Okay. I'm going to leave some of them for y'all to do. I'm just trying to do the weird ones. Okay. The number of edges, we can count that by redrawing the figure. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to trace over it in blue. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There were 12 edges. I don't have a figure that looks like this one I can show you, but the thing about it is there's all kinds of figures we can make. How many bases do we have on this one? Number.
How do you want us to keep going?
What?
We're on surface area.
Yeah, we're going to do a little at a time here. Number of bases. How many bases on this, guys?
2.
2. Okay, good. Thank you. What's the name of the base in this case?
Rectangle.
Yep, it's a rectangular. Wait, no.
No.
They've turned it funny. Oh, there's 2. They're trapezoids, right?
What?
The trapezoids Actually, let me show you what side that is. This would be one of the bases in your figure. It's this kind of the one facing you. If you look at your figure, don't you see the two trapezoids? They're like this and this in the figure. Okay? So it's a trapezoid. Okay. And then, let's see, so number of lateral faces, that means everything but the base, so that would be, we know there were 6 altogether, there's 2 bases, so lateral faces, there's 4 of them, right? And we know that that would be easy to figure out because a trapezoid has 4 sides, so you know it's going to be 4. And it's the same, you're going to have, every side of the base has to be connected up. So if you count the sides on the base, that's how many sides your figures or lateral faces your figure is going to have. And then the name of the lateral faces, that's the part that was the rectangle. I'll put LF for lateral face. That's the rectangle part. Okay.